Meeting of the Radnor Zoning Hearing Board. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? So the first item on the agenda is the appeal number 3210, the applicant Villanova University, property located at 800 Lancaster Avenue, and zoned PI planned institutional and CO commercial office. I'm not going to read the entire thing. The parties are here, Villanova and the Township. I want to acknowledge that we have received the briefs that you each provided to us in this matter, and they've been read by the board. Each side, each party, I should say, will have 10 minutes to address the board, at which time the board will ask any questions of each party that they may have regarding their respective applications.
Evening, Nick Cornelia representing Villanova University. One administrative matter. Are we having 5 people decide the decision tonight or just 4?
Just 4.
I'd ask for continuance then, respectfully. 5 people sat last time. I would ask for continuance so that 5 people could make a decision on this. Clearly, I mean, there's an obvious reason for it. John, Mr. Lord, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Obviously, if only 4 people are deciding, I need 3 or 4 for approval. Ties, the applicant loses. If 5 people are deciding, then it is 3 or 5. So I would give whatever extensions are required on this and request that the 5 people who were present decide the case.
It's, we have to speak with our council. Is there time? Because we're going to have to go into September.
Well, if he's granting the extensions,
Okay.
assuming, but obviously, I don't know if there's an objection or not. I don't know how they'd be prejudiced, but, you know, we should hear from the other party as well.
Well, I mean, I don't really, I can't object to it. If only 4 members are here and are going to vote, he's the applicant. He's the moving party. He's got the burden of proof. He wants the extra voter here for whatever reason. And, you know, I don't have an objection to it. I think we just need to be clear on the record what's the extension to, because all the testimony was presented on May 29th. So under my reading of the MPC, you have 45 days from May 29th to issue the written decision. So if we're going to get an extension and come back for oral argument, and I assume you want oral argument?
Sure, I think the board does
And,
too.
and okay, so then if we're going to come back in August or September, then there's going to have to be some additional time beyond that to issue the written decision.
Correct.
So that's my only caveat on pushing this off.
And we have to make sure that every member who's here now, with the exception to the one member who has a conflict, is here for the next meeting. I really thought that Charles was going to be here. I don't know what happened.
And I would point out that you can have somebody call in on the phone and vote. So if somebody's not going to be here in August or whatever, if they can call in, as long as you can hear that person and they can hear what's going on, you can do that as a zoning hearing board.
Okay.
Just,
As long as you have a quorum here, right, John? I think does a quorum have to be present?
pardon me?
Does a quorum have to be present in order for that to take place? Like, in other words, you can't have the entire board do it.
Yeah, I think you need a quorum in the room.
That's what I mean. There's a caveat to that. I don't want everybody thinking they can just take off for the summer.
No, you got to have a quorum in the room, I think, but,
Yes.
you know, sometimes people can't make it for whatever reason. It's,
Like tonight, like the chairman said, I also expected that member to be here tonight. Hopefully it's nothing, you know, serious, but, you know, it hasn't happened before, so
and
this
I'm
board's very on top of letting each other know whether they'll be here or not.
Okay, and I'm amenable to giving an extension 45 days after whenever we have oral argument to decide this case, whether it's July, August, September. I know the board generally does not meet in August. I know there's a meeting in July, and then obviously a meeting in September. I know you probably have a pretty big agenda in July. You said you may or may? Oh, you do have a meeting in August? Oh,
August 5th. August 5th.
okay.
Yeah, exactly. My problem is that's,
Anniversary? I have to check with my wife.
I think it might be,
Let's try-
it might be difficult.
I'll call in.
Is it your anniversary? Is that what he said?
Let's try July then. I don't want to cause a problem
I'm
with
actually going
John's.
to be away anyway. That
So-
would be difficult.
So July or September, are we okay with that? Okay. So whatever that,
Big's the
whenever you
agenda in
decide.
July.
I
It's
believe
big.
we have a packed agenda in July. There's 6 or 7 items on the 17th, and that's if everything gets done tonight. Yes, Tuesday we do have as well.
And I'm amenable, and I'll provide a written verification of it to give the board an extension for 45 days whenever after that hearing takes place for a written decision to be issued.
I think the best chance of having everyone coming back again would like to be September, because Mr. Nagel said he's not available the 17th. So that the same issue will happen again.
Yeah, whenever all 5 of you would be here.
Do we know that? I mean, we don't know.
But if, are you open, Nick, to, whenever
I'll
you
be
can
back. The
confirm
only
that
place-
all 5 will be here? 'Cause
I
it's
may
look-
be at the shore, but I can come back. You know,
For
that's
September.
fine. September, yeah.
Yeah, you're right,
No,
'cause it-
probably not that late. That would be the third Thursday, or third Thursday of September.
Right.
No, I'll be back. I'll be here. Yeah,
It's cold by then.
yeah.
That's when
Let me
it's
just
just
make
getting
certain.
good. The shore's empty.
France. I'm gonna go France in September.
I
Is-
mean,
How
Mr.
busy
Chairman,
is
if you,
July 1st?
You want to put a general waiver for the time?
Is that a busy agenda? I didn't look at it.
Yeah, you kind of did, I thought.
Sorry, I think we had 14 appeals scheduled, so for June. Yeah. And I
Never
believe
mind.
our council has
Yeah,
a conflict.
John should suggest that I just put a general waiver in as to the date, which is fine. And again, yeah,
We're waiving a 45-day clock to issue the written decision indefinitely, is the way I understand it.
correct.
Till we come up
That's
with
my
a date.
understanding as well, right,
Then
until
we
we
can go from
schedule
there.
it and, right.
Okay.
We'll confirm and let the parties know.
good.
Okay.
Okay, let me just make certain that September date, I think we're just early.
Well, let's go out and we can look at.
No, it's okay, yeah, I'm back by then. I think I'm back like 13th, yeah, or the 14th, okay,
They need to find out when the 5th members.
okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you for the courtesy also.
Pointing that out, I would not have caught that until it was
Well,
too
when I
late.
was looking up here, you know.
Something's wrong.
And I didn't think Mr. Stefano was going to decide the case, he would have been the 5th, and so that's why I kind of thought that maybe only would be 4 of them. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is carried over from the May 15th, 2015 meeting. It is appeal number 3213. The applicant, Brandon and Rebecca Brigham, property located at 24 Haymarket Lane and zoned R1DM, residential density modification. The applicant seeks a variance from section 280-15 B and E in parens and F in parens, section 280-94 and section 280-97 B-2-3 of the code to construct an addition and deck to the rear of the home.
Well, this is Brandon Brigham. I guess I'll be testifying, but also,
I will be as well, yes.
Okay, if you'll both please raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
And state your name for me.
Brandon, B-R-A-N-D-O-N, Brigham, B-R-I-G-H-A-M, as in Mary.
Jeffrey, Jeffrey, Harris, Harris.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just as a reminder, I want to present our application as what we are seeking. As you noted, we are seeking a variance to build an addition on the back of our home. And during the prior discussion, there were some questions about the various figures on our plan. So we have brought our architect, Jeff Harris, to provide any additional information. And I would like to also formally move our application into the record.
You're going to move your exhibits into the record.
Well, the exhibits to the application, yes.
Okay. So you want to identify the exhibits? And if you need your expert to do that, you can have him sworn
don't.
in and and ask him questions regarding it.
Okay. The first exhibit is our deed, which I have personal knowledge of because I'm a signatory to it.
What is the deed? Is that Exhibit A?
I would, are we restarting the exhibit numbers? Because I believe there were exhibits marked last time.
Were the exhibits introduced the last time? Okay. Then do you have any new exhibits that were not introduced at the last?
The deed was not.
Excuse me.
The deed was not admitted?
Okay. So what it would be the exhibit number for the deed?
I do not recall the exhibit number. I would start at 11 because there were less than 10.
Is the deed in the, have you handed up a copy of the deed? I mean, if it's not in the packet that we already have, then we need to have it.
it is.
Oh.
This is the whole packet. That's what I'm trying to move in, is the packet. That's all. Because I was told it's not part of evidence. So, in order to move it into evidence, I'm requesting that it be admitted. Well, I was told that the application wasn't part of the record already, which is why I'm asking to move it into evidence.
Okay. Well, begin your presentation, please.
My presentation is really simply a reminder of what we're asking to do. And then also I will be calling Jeffrey Harris, our architect, to present additional information about what we are doing and answer any questions that the board may have.
Well, it's your presentation and your application. You've got to do the.
Understood.
Excuse me. Well, allow me to finish what I'm saying before you interrupt me, okay?
Okay.
So you've got to ask the questions, you've got to present the evidence, and then we can move on from there.
Sounds great.
Because the last time we had questions and the person who was able to answer the questions as an expert wasn't here. So why don't you Mr. Harris has been sworn in. I'm glad he's here, so let's hear from him.
I'll ask you some questions. So, oh, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Harris.
Evening.
Are you a registered architect in the state of Pennsylvania?
I am.
And can you briefly describe your educational background?
I was educated at Temple University about a little over 30 years ago. I've been a practicing architect ever since.
Great. Can you briefly describe the project that we hired you to make plans for?
Sure. What we have here is a non-conforming lot. I'm going to be basically working off of this plan exclusively.
That's Exhibit C.
Yes, this is the, or I think it is it? Yes.
And just for the record, it's clear you're being offered as an expert, is that correct?
I believe so, yes. That is correct.
All right, so you're admitted as an expert without objection.
Okay. If you look at the table here in the bottom center, you can see the zoning requirements. It's a table I'm sure you've seen many times over the years, a type of table you've seen, where it shows that the minimum lot area is 43,560 square feet is what's required, and the lot is only 9,946 square feet. So it's a significantly non-conforming property. And what always happens with non-conforming properties is the rest of the numbers get thrown out a little bit out of whack. The setbacks are inside the house in some cases. The percentages are quite low for a property of only a quarter of an acre. So we have a non-conforming lot, and we would like to do some additions to this lot. If you look at the back of the property right in here, there is an existing deck. And I'll just trace the shape of the deck. You can kind of see it kind of comes off the back right here, comes across, and then it's shaped in this kind of a funny little angled area right here. That's a deck. It actually has it's been there at least 15 years. It has a patio underneath that deck. We don't know exactly how large the patio is. We don't know much about it because the deck is very low and it's difficult to see exactly what's underneath it. But we know it was done by the previous owner and that there is impervious surface underneath it. What we would like to do is, if you can see this square right here, is we would like to build an addition right in that area. And by building that addition, you're taking out a portion of that existing deck. That is this shape right in here. This area right here is actually currently just landscaped grassed area right now. So this square would be the addition, and then right next to it, the existing deck would be demolished, and we would look to remove the pad if we can. But we're not certain what we're going to run into when we get to it, but we would be replacing the deck with a new deck in kind.
Does it appear that the prior owner just erected looks like a wooden deck on top of a cement pier?
On a top of
patio?
a cement patio. It's a
Patio.
full concrete patio underneath it.
And this is in a density modification zone, and that's why you have these, sort of, as you said, strange numbers on minimum lot width and rear yard and so on, correct?
Exactly, that's correct. That's pretty much it. The addition's only 350 square feet. When you take out that portion of the existing deck, the increase in impervious is, you can kind of see it over here on this table over here, where the portion of the existing deck is removed, and then we have an additional area gained, so that the net impervious gain is about 188 square feet. Is the overall gain. So when you come back to this chart over here, you can see that the existing percentage, what's required is 27% of impervious cover. Existing right now is 33.1%, and we'd be increasing that to 35%. In addition, we have a building coverage of 20% allowed. We're at 17.7, but because this is a new addition, that would be increasing the size of the house itself. That proposed building coverage goes up to 21.3%. And then the rear yard, it's not going to be any closer to the rear yard than the existing deck. It comes out to the same line as the existing deck, but because it is now a rear yard to a building, it's 15.8 feet. So that's it. 15.8.
And is this a worst-case scenario for impervious? Meaning if we were actually able to demolish the pad and have a slotted deck, would that be pervious?
Yeah, it's my understanding that the township, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the township now considers decks pervious. And if that's the case, if we were to move this pad that's underneath the deck and rebuild the deck, then that would become pervious surface, and then we would actually be reducing the amount of impervious on the site rather than increasing it.
And do these plans take any further actions to help manage or reduce the impact of this, such as perhaps a seepage pit?
Right. If necessary, we're under the 500 square feet of net impervious gain, which is what typically the township would require for stormwater management mitigation. But
Plan the way it is now, you're at 500 feet, did you say?
we're less,
Less
well
than-
less than 500 feet, yeah.
And
But
if you dug up and removed the concrete surface or deck, whatever's under there, that would increase,
that would decrease the impervious,
decrease the impervious?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're asking for an increase of 187.9 square feet of impervious. That area of the deck is about 240 square feet, so if that's removed from the calculation, it would be a loss of impervious surface.
And the only reason that's not reflected on these plans is because we don't know whether or not we can do that. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we really don't know what's underneath there. I don't know if that deck is 3 feet thick. I don't know if it's a foundation for a future addition that the previous owner wanted to put in. We just don't know anything about that. So for our purposes, it's best to ask for the variance rather than discover it during construction and have to come back at that point in time.
Okay.
Does the board have any further questions?
Any questions?
You show the seepage pit, is that going to happen?
Well, I mean, we placed it on there to show that we have an area for it, that it can be done, and we would be willing to do it for any increase of impervious. If you want to make that a condition for the variance, that's fine. So we're planning to do it if needed, but that's going to be a debate between us and the township engineer when we go through the permitting process.
Does the board have any other questions? No?
Then I would rest.
Any public comment? Seeing none. Can we have a motion, please? Don't everybody jump at once.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
While I do, I'm note for the record, I was not here at the May 15th hearing, so to the extent that I don't necessarily need to vote, were you present for that hearing? Okay. So everybody else, so they have
So Greg
quorum
can
without
vote.
my vote then?
Yes, oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. So I'll make the motion. So I'll move that the application for a variance from section 280-15B, E, and F, as well as section 280-94 and section 280-97.B 2 and 3 of the code to construct an addition and deck to the rear of their home be approved based on the testimony and exhibits presented.
Second. Let's take a vote.
I'm in favor.
Thank you.
I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda, excuse me, is appeal number 3217, the application Adam Sherman, property located at 508 Crestview Road and zoned R2 residential. Applicant seeks relief from section 280-20C of the code to extend the front portico and columns.
Hi, yeah, I'm Adam Sherman from Cottage Industries, and this is Phil Cook. He's the homeowner, and I've prepared the plans for the application for the variance.
Adam, if you could speak into the mic, that would be.
Yeah, sure.
It's very important.
This
because,
is Phil Cook.
Yeah.
I do.
Adam Sherman.
And Phil Cook?
Okay, please, tell us about your application.
So first, I need to apologize because it's going to be a little bit unorthodox. So we had, the Cooks gave me a plot plan from 2018. It's an approved, is that off? This application for zoning application from 2018, which was approved, showed a setback of off of Crestview at a 60-foot.
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to an application from 2018 for grading permit, which was approved for some work unrelated to what we're doing now, but I used this as a basis. I'm just telling a little backstory here, how we ended up.
Is that in the material?
It is not. It's not really part of this application.
But if you're referring to it, it is.
Okay, so it's not, it wasn't submitted with the application. It's just an old grading permit that was approved, and it has a setback shown on it, which is incorrect. This is how I ended up discovering we needed a zoning variance, which I now believe we don't need. So I was telling a little bit of the backstory to this, so that's why I apologized. If I may at least get the story out, and then we can go from there. I don't believe we need a zoning permit on this because I believe the setback was incorrectly placed. I had the architect take this existing grading permit and create a plot plan for the new permit for the front portico. I submitted it for the grading permit and was told that the setback that was shown on it was incorrect. It's, rather than a 60-foot setback as shown from 2018, it should have been 65 feet from the center of the road. So when we did that, the architect drew it, and it appeared as though we were going to encroach on the setback.
Just one sec. What are you referring to now?
So
Because
this is something that was
exhibits,
prepared to.
Excuse me, the application hasn't been marked. Can we put the screen on? Okay, so that's, you can, whichever document you're referring to.
Okay.
You can position it on the table so that we can all see it. So which
Okay.
one is it that you're referring to?
So this one was prepared today, showing the setbacks and the new proposed portico not encroaching on the setback lines.
All right, so this is, what's the plot plan is AO?
AO, right.
And
And
it's March 21st, 2025?
this one is dated June 26, 2025. It's from today. I had a conversation with the architect and determined her methods for figuring out where the setback line was. And after reading the deed and working it out, we determined that the setback is in this location, and we're not encroaching on it.
Is this in the record, that what you're referring to?
No, this was just done today.
Okay. Well, we have to have this stuff in front of us.
Yeah, I apologize.
Well, apologies are.
I made some extra copies.
Excuse me. We have to have the exhibits identified by you and the applicant and moved into evidence, just as if you were in a courtroom.
Okay.
Otherwise, we can't consider it. So
Okay.
if you're not prepared to go forward, then maybe you should reapply.
Okay, so I have enough copies for all of you. Does that help? And submit it into evidence?
I don't think that's a problem. Let's have them handed up here.
Okay.
And we should mark all
Thanks,
these
sir. Let me have one copy of that. Thank you.
as exhibits. So the application, 3217 would be Exhibit A. The plan that's been, has been handed up already, which is a plot plan that's dated March 21st, 2025. We'll make that Exhibit B. Another plan, excuse me, that's entitled New Front Entry Portico, and also plot plan and existing conditions, A1. It's also dated March 21st, 2025, and that'll be Exhibit C. And we just had another plan handed up, which is entitled, well, it's also entitled New Front Portico. And it's dated June 26, 2025, and that'll be Exhibit D. We have all the exhibits.
Okay.
Are we missing anything? I think they're all included in the application, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all there, along with the deed and so on. All right, so you were starting to tell us that there were some miscalculations and that you don't need a zoning.
I believe I don't need a zoning permit because we're not encroaching on the setback line based on the method of calculation that we determined was the same method as used in 2018. So the architect on this new exhibit had determined the width of the street and worked backwards to determine the setback line based on a verified distance of 53 feet from the corner of the house to this curb. She had determined the width of the street at 30 feet. The deed says it's 50 feet. When we made that correction, the two plot plans essentially matched, the one from 2018 and the one from today. So it now shows that we don't need a zoning variance. I'm here to basically ask your advice. I mean, should we just go through and
We
get
can't give you advice.
Okay. So we don't believe we need a variance then. So I guess that means we withdraw the application.
Well, Mr. Chairman, may I suggest that they request a continuance? You haven't gotten this to the township yet,
No, I did submit it to the township.
today?
No, when I did the grading permit application, because I had incorrect data from 2018 stating the setback was 60 feet. Kevin Kuczynski sent it back to me saying, it's 65 feet, you got to revise this. We did, and with the incorrect calculations, we believe they were incorrect, showed that the setback line went through the new portico. So, upon further investigation, we realized that it's probably not in, we determined it's not in the,
Right, that's what I'm asking. So
Yeah.
has the township seen this new
the
drawing?
township has not seen the new drawing.
Right, so I would suggest that you request a continuance,
Okay,
you get that to the township,
right,
and you may or may not need to come back.
okay. All right,
Okay,
Okay.
you want to request a continuance?
yes, please.
Okay, you're the applicant, do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, so you'll go back and you'll show all this to the township, and maybe you'll be back here and maybe you won't.
Okay, very
All
good.
right, very
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks a lot.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're dropping like flies.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is appeal number 3218. The applicant Lynn Malik, property located at 906 Coopertown Road in Zone R1 Residential. Applicant seeks a special exception from sections 280.115.1 B in parentheses to allow for a traffic home occupation. Is the applicant here?
You're going to testify also? Okay, you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Yes. And your name's one at a time.
Lynn Malik, Lynnmalik.
Chris Malik, CHRA.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Lynn Malik, and I'm a resident here in Radnor Township. I live at 906 Coopertown Road with my husband, Chris, and our 3 children. I just wanted to thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration tonight of my request. I'm here this evening to request a zoning special exception under Chapter 280-115.1B for traffic home occupation. I'm seeking approval to operate my business, which is named My Own Healing, Physical Therapy, and Myofascial Release.
Just a little bit slower.
My Own Healing, Physical Therapy, and Myofascial Release from my home. The services I provide include myofascial release, therapeutic body work, and manual physical therapy. all aimed at relieving pain and improving mobility in a private, one-on-one setting. I'm a PT and I've been practicing since 2006. I was previously working in traditional healthcare settings and now seeking to work out of my home. The reasons I'm seeking this for the home traffic occupation are the flexibility of work, including my time and location to allow me to be available for my children and our busy family schedule. It's cost effective and it eliminates the need for extra childcare and the costs of renting a space. And I'm also located near many medical offices and Bryn Mawr Hospital, which allows my clients to visit their specialists and receive their treatment in one day. As part of my application, I've included all the relevant documentation that was requested, which includes the property deed, prior land studies, and permits that were used for our pool in 2022. I did include property photos if you want to pull those up. If you need to look to see what our property is set up like, with pictures of the neighboring properties, and we do have extra parking already available.
I'm sorry, what did you say about extra parking?
We do have, I think you have to have an extra 2 parking spaces on your property to have home traffic occupation, which we already do have that, and it shows in our, should show in our property photos that are included in the packet. We have we live kind of in a fairly secluded property. We're set back off of Coopertown Road behind another property. Yes, John and Mary Ann. And we do have a lot of lush landscaping, and it should, really create minimal disruption to our neighbors as far as people coming in.
So you're saying the landscaping would screen the parking?
Yes, it should. There is a picture in there of, we have a row of evergreens by our additional parking, and we do have evergreens kind of all even behind the property as well for our neighbor behind us.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any additional?
Have you spoken to the neighbors about this?
I have spoken to some.
And do you have any letters or anything from them indicating their?
I did not. I think Kevin Kachansky maybe had a call from somebody curious what I was doing. I think he was able to answer that. I've also included my, physical therapy license for Pennsylvania that's in there, my, professional liability insurance, and I think anything else that you would need is in there.
The services that you would render, would they all be done inside of your house?
Yeah, they'll be inside on my first floor in the office. Which?
Would this be the only at-home occupation?
Yes,
Okay.
just myself, 1 client per hour.
Okay.
During those business hours that, Radnor allows.
So there would be the overlap of the next patient?
I could schedule it so it isn't that way. I can, put a 15-minute, I usually have a 30-minute, my ideal thing was a 30-minute.
Establish it, two spaces.
2 can fit, and more actually.
Yeah.
So I would say I probably have 4 additional. Yeah. I could probably put, 6 cars in there, 8 maybe.
Will your patients be using the swimming pool?
No,
That's not part of their therapy?
no, just inside, on a table, hands-on therapy.
And the therapy that is being performed, there's no music or anything else that would, sound of which would escape the house and be heard by the neighbors?
No.
And what are the hours that you'd be operating?
Ideally, my time would be 9:30 to 3, Monday through Friday. If that, it's probably going to be more part-time, but
Do you have employees?
no,
Just you?
just me.
All right. Where in the home is
The office?
the office?
It's just off the front door,
Okay, and
first floor.
Is there any indication in your materials as to the percentage of floor area?
It's, I don't know that I wrote it. It's an 11 by 14 room. I'm not sure if it's in there or not.
Is it less than 35% of the total house?
Yeah, the home is 4,000 square feet. And it's one room.
Do you have occasion to have deliveries made to the home
Yeah.
with respect to the business?
Oh, for the business? No.
Do you intend to place any commercial signs?
No.
any displays to identify the business?
No.
And you don't maintain or store hazardous materials or equipment? Nothing
No.
along those lines? And it's a single-family detached home?
Correct.
And you have off-street parking for at least 2 vehicles?
Yes.
And are there any other home occupation?
No, they already checked on that.
All right, well, we have the application, which hasn't been marked, the pieces attached to it haven't been marked individually, but we'll mark the entire packet
Thank you.
as Exhibit A. Does the board have any other questions?
Yeah, I do. This
Yes.
is within your application. What am I looking at here?
That was a smaller version of our land study from a couple years ago. I did include the bigger 24 by, I don't know the size, in the original, but that's just the study of our property for when we had the pool. It's just for your
Just
visual.
for context?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's also where we're located.
I think I have it upside down. Maybe not.
You can see the 906, and you can just see the shape of our property, how we're set back.
Okay. And then the photographs,
Mhm.
if you would open them, because we may have some viewing audience. It's unlikely, but
You want me to?
Yeah, you
show
should
them on
put
the desk.
Put them on the table, and then the screen will.
And then,
Oh,
if
gotcha.
and then if you could just walk us through the
Oh, yeah,
photographs.
sure. The top one is just the rear of the home, and that also shows some extra parking. Sorry, there, the table. A little challenge here. Is that okay? Is that good?
So in that top photograph,
Yes.
there's like a parking pad. Is that different than the parking that you have in mind?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll let you walk us through
Yep.
then, if you don't mind.
So that's just I just took a photo of all sides of the home, so you can see kind of a better visual. The top one is the kind of the rear side of the home. The middle photo is a view of the property, one of the properties to the north of us from the front door. And then the lower photo is the view of the front of the home.
Okay.
Right. I mean, it's not visible from the street, but a little slightly from the neighbors. But the next page is just the entrance to the home.
Where would your patients enter?
They would enter let's see here. As we get to another photo, I might be able to explain it better. They're going to enter from the front door.
Okay.
So off of this top picture, there are the 2 parking spots. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a photo that
I'll show you.
is entitled "View of Property to the West." Does that more or less show where they would
Yes,
be entering the
yes,
house?
it does. I know there's a lot of photos. Yes, so that's where they would enter, and that's coming off of the 2 parking spots that are below that. The front walkway connects to those parking spots.
And in the top photograph of that, we're looking at the front walkway? Is that what
Yes.
you're referring to?
Yes,
Okay.
and the entrance is on the left.
Now, to get into this property, does the patient have to drive past another person's house?
Yes, or we have a shared driveway,
Okay.
which, if you look at this picture of the survey, it can kind of show you our driveway, how it comes down. And then the final picture is just kind of it's one of the both of the parking spots, and then the walkway. It shows the walkway to the front of the home.
And And then next in your packet is your license,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
You have a liability insurance, I see that.
Correct.
And then you have in here a professional services agreement. Why is this in?
Oh, this was all included. In the application, it said include any prior studies or things that occurred with the property. I just included everything from our pool that we did 2 years ago, and I just put that in case you guys needed any other additional information on the property. But it's nothing related to me. It's just history since we've been in the home.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
it does.
So I have no plans to, alter our property in any way. I just wanted to use my office for my workspace.
So you said you have a shared driveway?
Yes.
Say with a adjoining neighbor?
Yes.
Has that adjoining neighbor, are they amenable? Are they
Yeah.
okay with this then too?
I haven't had no issues at this time, but they are elder, and they're not outside too often. I do, we talk to them here and there, but not as often as we used to. So they might be, I hear that they may be moving very soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they express any objection? Sorry.
That's okay.
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Did you explain to them what you're doing?
Yes.
Okay, and what was their reaction?
You just do what you want to do. I mean, very pleasant, just kind of nothing, really not any strong comment or anything. But yeah, they are very sweet.
All right. Appears there's no further questions from the board. Is there any public comment? Not seeing any public comment. Not seeing any public comment. I'll call for a motion.
I'll make the motion that in Appeal 3218 applicant be granted a special exception from section 280-115.1, parent B, to allow for traffic home occupation.
I'll second the motion. Vote, please.
I'm in favor.
Yeah, I'm in favor.
And I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
Okay. The appeal's been granted. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck with business.
Thank you.
Just put this away. Where is this?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's thinking.
The last item on the agenda for this evening is appeal number 3219.
Yep.
The applicant Chad and Megan Barano, property located at 114 Morningside Circle and zoned R4 residential. The applicant seeks a variance from section 280-30C of the code relating to the front yard setback to permit a covered porch in the front of the home. Applicant further requests such relief as may be required in conformity with the exhibits and testimony presented.
Says legal.
That is us. Hello, I'm Megan Barano.
Will you both be testifying?
Yes.
If you raise your right hand, you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
And
Yes.
your names one at a time.
Chad Brown, C-H-A-D, Visa Victory, A-R-A-N-O.
And Megan Barano, M-E-G-A-N-B-A-R-A-N-O. Thank you. Can we turn the screen on, just because I'll share?
Okay, use the microphone, please, and keep your voice up.
Okay, you got it. Take a seat. Good evening. My name is Megan Verano, and I'm here to request a variance for my home located at 114 Morningside Circle, which is zoned R4 residential. Thank you for your time tonight. We are seeking a variance from Section 280-30C, Article 7 of the R4 zoning code to construct a 12-foot by 28-foot covered front porch at the front of our property. This porch will encroach 2 feet into the required 30-foot front yard setback, resulting in a front yard setback of 28 feet. The proposed plan maintains an impervious coverage ratio of 25% below the 40% maximum allowed under Section 280-30F. Therefore, we are ensuring compliance with this zoning requirement. To visualize this request, please refer to Exhibit Exhibit A5, which is the aerial of our property. Everybody have their exhibit up? Okay. So A5, if you see the red dot on this screen, here's an aerial of our property. Our home is located at the corner of Kirsch Avenue and Morningside Circle. And so we're requesting to build a covered front porch at the front of our residence that will face Morningside Circle. So if we flip to Exhibit A3, you will find a site plan of our home. Our lot line runs from the center point of Morningside Circle to the center point of Kirsch Avenue. Our home is on the inside of this site plan. In front of our home is a red rectangle, which is the proposed covered front porch. As you can see, the porch will be 12 feet by 28 feet, and it will encroach 2 feet into the required 30-foot front yard setback. The purpose of this variance is to address a persistent hardship we have faced, where rainwater pools at the front of our property, which has led to water intrusion into our basement, causing damage and posing a risk to the structural integrity of our home. We have been trying to address this issue since we bought the home in 2022, and it has led to stressful, sleepless nights and an inability to finish our basement and use it the way that we intended to. By extending the coverage by an additional 2 feet, the porch will divert the water to the other side of the lawn, away from the basement and the shared driveway, protecting our home from further damage. This variance is necessary due to the unique challenges with our property. To visualize this hardship, please refer to Exhibit A6G and H. So,
Did you say A6G?
yes.
G.
So A6G
I see it.
is a photo of water that has entered our home during heavy rainfall. And A6H is just another picture of water that's been in our basement. We have a sump pump in our basement to combat this issue, but it does not reach all pooled water, which adds a manual component to this recurring issue. Please refer to Exhibit A4, which is our covered front porch plan. The top picture represents our existing home. When we purchased the house in October of 2022, this porch was, call it 15 to 20 years old. We're not sure when the former owner had built it, but the steps were slanted and several of the floorboards had essentially bowed and warped, and so it has become unusable over time. The proposed plan, which is just beneath the existing picture, is a visual representation of what will be built. As you can see here, in terms of the roof line, the roof is pitched in the center, diverting the water to the front of the roof line on each side, left and right. There will be gutters that run along that roof line, and then downspouts that run along the front columns, diverting the water away from our home and away from our basement. And due to the unique challenges of our lot, there's a slight slant at the front of our property. And so with this additional 2 feet encroaching into the 30-foot front yard setback, The porch will meet at flat ground.
Porch will what?
Meet at flat ground. So essentially, when it diverts the water away from the home, it will no longer pool in front of the property and have an ability to come into our basement.
Where would the water go then?
So the house is 28 feet, and so the porch won't run in width in either direction outside of the home. And so it will just essentially divert the water to the left and the right of the property, which will be into our lawn.
And it won't go onto anybody else's property?
No.
Intend to put in any French drains or anything like that to capture the water?
We don't intend to put in any French drains. The front of,
I'm sorry, the existing front porch, let me get a measurement. Does the existing front porch, is it 12 feet?
the existing front porch is 10 feet.
And you're saying you need the additional 2 feet, just given the grade?
Correct.
In order to allow the water to run off?
Yes.
Okay.
And I have a picture in here where I can show you essentially the side profile of our home where you can see the slight grade in the front yard. If that's helpful, we can point to that.
So the porch, the drawing, I'm not sure what number it is, but it shows the existing and then it shows the proposed. You were just referring to it.
Yes.
On the existing, what's behind the lattice fence?
Behind the lattice fence closest to the home is where the porch is located. And it's an uncovered porch, so it's pervious.
Is it wood or what? Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes, it was a wooden
So
deck.
it's Exhibit A6A, all right.
So the extra 2 feet allows you to avoid the slope?
Correct.
Is that slope shown anywhere?
Yes.
Where can we
Let me refer to this exhibit list. So if we jump to Exhibit A6. I can walk you through these pictures. So just starting with A6A, this is a front home profile. A6B is the proposed covered front porch. A6C is our shared driveway with our neighbor.
So your house is to the right on this
Yes.
photograph?
Yes, the yellow house to the right. And the next exhibit shows you a side profile of the home. And you can see here the slope of the front yard. And so if you extend out this deck 2 additional feet, it meets at flat ground. So then when the water hits the pitch of the roof and it hits the gutters and then the downspouts, it will divert the water away from our home as opposed to pooling in the front of our property.
Pulling in front, but then also draining towards?
Correct.
And I presume you've had an engineer confirm that this will in fact address the water ingress
Correct.
issues in the basement?
Yes.
And that this is, okay.
We had a conversation with our contractor who works with an engineer and went through these plans and spoke through the gutters as well as the downspouts and the way that the water essentially will be mitigated and diverted away from the home.
Okay, thank you.
What is exhibit, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you share the driveway with 116? Shared driveway?
We're 114, yes, 116. And we have a letter from her approving said work.
I'm looking at exhibit A6F, and the front yard's dug up, it appears. What's going on here?
A6F. That is our neighbor. They had removed a tree, and then I think they resodded their front yard. But
And where does your house appear in this photograph?
it does not. Our house is to the left, so you can't see it in this shot. Yeah, we just showed it. The application stated that we should show visuals from every direction of the house. So this just shows the vantage point from the other side of the house. And their property also does not look like that anymore. This was a Google Maps view.
I noticed that some of the photographs that you've included on comparable neighbor porches, were these, to your knowledge, were these porches added after the house was built, or to fix a similar problem to yours, or do you know?
I don't know the nature of why they were built, but I do know that in terms of the houses within our neighborhood, they were built in 1950, and so several of our neighbors have made improvements to their home, including covered front porches or renovations. So my assumption would be that those covered front porches were built, after 1950 and within the last 5 years. In addition to our hardship, the front of our home faces west, which means it receives direct sunlight during the hottest parts of the day, particularly in the late afternoon and evening. Our property is affected by this heat, which directly impacts the interior temperature of our home. This constant heat exposure has led to excessive air conditioning usage, resulting in high utility bills throughout the warmer months. Despite efforts to manage this with shading techniques like window coverings, the heat load on our home remains a constant burden. Our air conditioning is costly, and we are actively seeking solutions to reduce this unnecessary energy consumption. We believe that a covered front porch will significantly mitigate this issue. The porch would provide shade to the west-facing facade of our home, reducing the amount of direct sunlight that enters through windows and doors, lowering our monthly utility costs. And as mentioned before, the proposed covered deck design is aligned with the neighborhood design and aesthetic. So if you refer to exhibits A6, I, and J, you will see several other homes within our neighborhood with comparable porch designs. The porch will improve the front facade of our home and encourage more use of outdoor living space, promoting a stronger connection with the public park behind our house. It will also provide a functional and safe outdoor space, allowing for proper circulation around furniture and more usable family area. Porches of this size are consistent with modern architectural standards for comfort and usability. Here are the pictures that were referenced. A6I, comparable neighborhood porches, where you can see several other homes within our neighborhood that have completed front porch projects. And then the last exhibit I'll touch on is we have secured strong community support. We've provided written statements from our immediate neighbors endorsing the project. So if you refer to exhibit A7, you will see a key that outlines our home in pink, as well as homes of neighbors who have provided letters of support. Our neighbors have provided letters as well as verbal expression, noting that the porch will improve the neighborhood's overall appearance and will be complementary to the neighborhood design, as evidenced by several other homes in the neighborhood with existing covered porches.
Any other questions from the board? Seeing no, is there any public comment? Can we have a motion, please? Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. Yes, move your exhibits into evidence, please. Just say that you're moving the exhibits into evidence, that'll be fine.
I'm moving the exhibits into evidence.
Okay, without objection, thank you. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll motion that Appeal 3219, applicants Chad and Megan Verano, property located at 114 Morningside Circle and zoned R4 residential, variance be granted from section 280-30C of the code relating to the front yard setback to permit a covered porch in the front of their home in accordance with all of the evidence and testimony provided.
Second.
Board discussion?
I think the 2 feet is pretty minimal. I don't think it's de minimis because it's closer to 10%, but it starts to ring that bell, in my opinion. Clearly, the evidence shows a hardship based on the slope of the ground and the problems that homeowners have experienced as a result of that water intrusion. So I'll be in favor of that.
Yeah, I looked at the photographs pretty closely, and it seems like you lived with the front porch as long as you could because it was looking not so safe, actually, in some of the photographs. And also you have all the neighbors look like they have porches too. And the location of the lot may be a contributing factor since it's on that corner. So I'll be in favor of this also. Anyone else? No? So I'll call the vote.
Aye, I'm in favor.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank
Your,
you.
The approval is granted. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And so endeth the mass.
It was very good, very good. Yes. You were watching what was going on. Okay, we stand adjourned.
Sarah emailed me about you. She didn't tell me who or what, and I said, get a lawyer, but you did great.
Labeled our exhibits. Everybody that doesn't label their exhibits, we're like, come on.
Yeah, it is time consuming.
Yeah.